My name is Devance, a.k.a. Div, a.k.a. Typical Div. I'm a local Atlanta entrepreneur, hip-hop artist, coffee professional, dad, husband, in a nutshell. I wish I could make it sound cooler. I own a coffee company and high-end catering services called Cafe Fwi. Since the top of the year, though, I've been fundraising to open up my second location, which is going to be a renovated 40-foot shipping container in East Point, Georgia. And still trying to balance a music career. That's going pretty well, if I might add. Hey, man, y'all make sure y'all tap into the $1 Million Mind podcast.
What's going on, millionaires? It's your guy, Kai Speaks, back for another episode of the $1 Million Mind podcast. I'm here with my co-host, Heavy House Jazz. How you feeling, Jazz?
Always great.
Blessed by the best, never stressed by the rest.
That's right.
Love it, man. Today is, I'm cheesy because we got another amazing guest, as we always do. Like, I feel like this time around, with having Jazz on the show, we've been doing a very good job and being very intentional on the guests we have on the show. And this brother that we have in the building is, despite his name, he's not a typical brother, right? He's not a typical brother at all. Very intelligent. And I mean, I really admire the work that he's doing and how he's able to listen to the universe and just kind of just following the script, running the play and everything like that. But without further ado, I want to introduce my brother, Typical Div, on the mic. Div, if you could just kind of tell our listeners.
The biggest dope dealer you'll ever meet.
That's a
fact. Right.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
Yeah. Almost like it's crazy because you like kind of broke yourself into this industry that kind of was maybe most people would say was resistant to your presence. Tell our listeners a little bit about yourself, how you came upon Cafe Fwi, like how you stumbled into the coffee industry and just like your story.
So Typical Div professionally. I am a coffee professional, entrepreneur here, just creative in general, and just been able to use coffee as a medium to do any kind of art I want to do. And I'm just, first off, thank y'all for having me.
Yeah.
This is great.
Thanks for being
truly a welcoming space, and I always appreciate that.
And we've been chopping it up for a while too. So
Yeah.
It's like Div trying to remember what did we not already talk about, so I don't say it again too.
What the percentages of Black entrepreneurs in the coffee industry?
Yeah.
We probably make up, to keep it a buck with you, I would say there's sections to coffee, right? There's like commercial coffee. Mm-hmm. Okay. There is like giant, like industrial commercial coffee, where you have the biggest exporters of coffee are probably Brazil and Vietnam. Vietnam being more like instant coffee. But instant coffee is like the coffee of choice in like Mexico and certain places, or in Southeast Asia and stuff like that. So there's that. There's like the commercial coffee you get from like Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts. There's also the big powerhouses who have been around for ages, and that's Folgers, Maxwell, and stuff like that. And then there's like my little island is what we call specialty coffee. Coffee is graded on a scale from 1 to 100. Mm-hmm. Anything that falls between an 80 to 100 is considered specialty grade. And that is when you have like your those cool coffee shops where you go and pay $9 for some black coffee. It's because they're probably paying about $20 a pound for the coffee they're getting. Whereas maybe Folgers is probably paying 75 cents a pound, but they're buying metric tons. You know what I mean?
Large quantity. Right?
Yeah, they're probably buying 50 shipping containers worth of low quality coffee. We only say low quality just so we can measure it for the sake of the conversation. Right. And then they come back and they roast it to a way to where you can't. They standardize it with the way they roast it. You know, it's a plant, so there's like defects, insect damage, mold can happen, all the above. And the higher the quality is, the more all those inconsistencies can get weeded out. So I fall in line in the specialty coffee section. I've spoken with the people I get the coffee from, like on the WhatsApp. I've talked to Ricardo and Felipe, and that's just the way I like to keep it. So I don't get as much as everybody else, but my little 600 kilograms is a pretty big deal if you're asking me. Yeah. You know what I mean? So compared to like we were talking about the shipping containers worth of coffee, and so on my little specialty coffee island, I say we make up maybe 10%.
What does Fwi mean? Like, what's the meaning of Fwi?
Respect. Fwi. It is the Haitian Creole word for fruit.
Ah.
Yeah. And so actually the coffee beans that we drink are roasted seeds from a cherry indigenous to East Africa.
Wow, so coffee bean is really the seed of a cherry.
Of a specific cherry.
Wow.
Yep. So when I was coming up with
I would have never known.
Never knew that.
Yeah, word. And so I just thought that resonated really well. I mean, the stuff that
All
we drink.
of them
Yeah, that's where coffee comes from.
are from the seed of a cherry.
Of a cherry.
Of a specific cherry.
Yeah, of a coffee.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, that's crazy, right?
Like coffee cherries.
Like you over here educating us. No.
Where would you say on the spectrum does like when you get into like the placement in like corporate buildings and office spaces where they got the Keurigs, you got the K cups and everything like that? Is that a type of product, or does that fall into the spectrum kind of the same place where like Folgers and everything is?
Well, there's a couple ways to go about it. So Keurig, I respect them because they've made coffee accessible to anybody, anytime, anywhere. But you can't put high quality in a Keurig because it's got to sit for a really long time. It's made to store.
Right.
And you really wouldn't do that if you're paying $10 a pound for coffee.
Right.
But there's a place for that, though. Like I did K-Cups. That's where I made a lot of my name. I bought a Keurig filling machine from China. I got printed foil labels. And I sat at the crib with a scale, put 11 grams in it, sealed it up, put it in boxes, and shipped it out as well. So there's a place for it.
Oh, wow. So you did the K cups?
Yeah. My machine just needs to get serviced, and then I'll probably be back on it. You know what I mean?
Okay. So it's not like it's not feasible for your business model.
Oh yeah. It's definitely done. You just got to take the L of understanding that you got to roast it probably a little darker than you usually would, and you have to let it degas for a while so it's gonna sit. You probably don't want to use your prize choice roast for that, but I do flavored coffee. I'm not against it. I'm not an elitist, so I would definitely love to have some honey brown and taste like Nutella K-cups for people to have at home. I just want people to enjoy it. I want people to be like using it. I want it like engraved in your culture at home, however you can do it. And if you like honey and brown sugar in your coffee, I got something for you.
Yeah. Now, when you mentioned earlier about like the beginning of Cafe Fwi and how you started this like as an e-commerce journey, what did that journey look like? Because having an e-commerce site, it's only like so many ways I can see people scaling that. It's like you either running ads to the site or you're doing a whole lot of content. Which route did you take, or is there another one that I'm forgetting about?
It was definitely content. I was waking up before the sun came up. I'm like, in the winter, I got the Carhartt on and the beanie, and I'm just kind of showing people what I'm doing. I'm filming it. Like, they see I'm like bagging it up. I'm doing it like 500 grams at a time in this machine, and they see me roast it, bag it, and then they get it at their house. So it's like the concept is proven. They know I'm not scheming or hustling. And then I just kept kicking out as much content as I could. One of my homeboys who lived in the area, he had a camera. He would come through. He would film. We had just had my daughter, so it was a mess all through the house most of the time. He would even film that in an artistic way and then show me roasting coffee outside in the house and kind of putting the connection together that this hip-hop artist who had been locally making a name for himself and had like a cult following was also
creating a local brand.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And it was just that. We went content heavy. I mean, I was dropping 5, 6, 7 times a day before that was like the program to do.
And you want to know what's so amazing? Like, half the time the world is more like susceptible to local. We want to know where our product is coming from. I'm so amazed.
Tell us again, why coffee?
Coffee in general?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Like, out of all the things.
You know what? I'm gonna give you the real play on it.
Yeah.
Coffee was something that I didn't realize was a ritual in my life. My dad was a correctional officer growing up, and so, coffee was his life, just by way of just how often he drank it.
Yeah.
And as I got older, I started to realize sometimes the only real time I got to kick it with him and quote unquote bond was when he was drinking his coffee in his morning and I was on the way out as well too. And he would just pour me up a cup. Of course, it was like sugar and milk with a side of coffee back then. But then you start to realize over your life, that's just been a part of my life always. So it was always there. I say what made me do it for real was I was a local artist, and I was known for like whiskey and women, and I'm selling T-shirts and CDs. And then after a while, I was like, drinking Jameson on stage, and realized, all right, this isn't really sustainable, And honestly, just wanted to be kind of cool and different. I was like, what if I was selling coffee? What if I was selling coffee because I drink it so much? What if it was something that I could do? It was just initially I planted that seed in myself, but one day, I went to my local coffee shop, and I was just like, man, y'all want to hire me? Just joking. And they said, send me your resume. 2 weeks later, I was working there, and then the rest was history.
Do you feel like your audience matured when you transitioned from the whiskey and to the coffee?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Matured, not so much. They were still ignorant, but they understood the transition.
Okay.
I think it matured me as an artist and kind of gave me like a full spectrum of what I'm able to do, and let you know that your audience is willing to accept anything you want to give to them. And so I was like, man, y'all grown with me, and this is what I'm doing. They're like, that makes sense. That's just some shit Div gonna do. Div gonna be drinking some coffee. All right, yeah, I can see it. I can see it, and it was cool when we moved from there. I mean, it was still mad whiskey all the time. It's just it was a slow burn though. I think I really presented it in front of them, and like I was able to grow into a coffee professional before their eyes. It's the only reason I was able to sell it was because of the music,
Wow. So the music was more so like promotion for the 1000%.
So I started roasting coffee on the sunroom of my apartment, and I would wake up at 5 a.m. I'd roast coffee till the sun went down, and I would just sell it on the internet. I would drop like some singles or EP and put it in a package. Specifically, I dropped an EP called Nobody Sells Tacos in the Village. And then I had the Village Blend. It was just like, I went and found a Mexican bean and roasted it up with a Colombian bean, packaged that out and pushed that like that. Ironically, this was around the same time that somebody was like boycotting Starbucks, coincidentally. And they're boycotting Starbucks, and it just happened. I fell right into the algorithm, and next thing I know is like, well, I got some coffee for y'all. And then it kind of just took off from there. And when that happened, I was just prepared for the opportunity. I kept roasting heavy to the point to where I had new people coming in who didn't necessarily want to listen to my music. They just was like, I heard about this coffee, this black man roasting. And so that's where Fwi came into play. And that shift was happening because the world ended.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like everybody was like, I just really don't want to give the companies that got bailed out money.
Yeah.
When there's people out here having to shut down their businesses and completely going bankrupt, trying to stay afloat. And the universe was real receptive. Shout out to the community that got me here. Like people started subscribing to my membership every month, so I could like plan my bills around the same 11 people who were gonna buy every month because it auto drafted right into my account. And so obviously they always got precedence, and they would always get like extra free stuff as we went, and that's the only reason I was able to scale it. Mad content, and just like if you bought one bag of coffee from me, you probably got 4 stickers, whatever album I made that day, whatever, something from Sticker Mule that was like a little trinket was in that bag, and you got that because I just wanted to show my gratitude for it, and it worked in the end.
Yeah.
Would you say that today, because I mean, I remember back, well, I don't know, that was almost, Jesus Christ, let's not talk about all that. I'm thinking about when I was a barista, but let's talk about today's markup on coffee. Do you feel like it's still a great product to sell? Where you can, like I heard you talking about sustaining your business, but when you have a good markup on things,
I think
it essentially can help.
You gotta pay some bills.
When you have a good margin on things, rather.
You gotta it's just realistic. You have to have a margin that works for you, that you can pay your bills with, but you don't have to I hate the word markup. I'm gonna charge. I'm gonna pay for everybody who's I have to pay along the way is gonna be handsomely paid.
Understood.
And then I also have to set up something that works for me. With coffee, most people don't really know what to expect for it, how expensive it is. So sometimes, you get like, y'all high. And be like, yeah, but in order for me to get this from the farm in Brazil and ship to Houston and then move from Houston to Atlanta, I probably paid about $4 a pound just for this coffee and another $4 a pound for this coffee. And they're not going to sell me one bag. You know what I mean? And then shipping for freight is $250 off the bat. And so, yeah, I mean, and then 11% inflation.
Right.
You know, I used to be able to get my muffins I sell for $4 for 9 of them. It's probably closer to $8 now. And I've had to go up $1 on it. But I probably could go $5. I probably should go $5. But like, you know, taking regulars into account, again, I love the fact that the same 10, 11 people going to pay my bills every month. And so I was like, I can't break y'all over, but I can make it work in my head for y'all coming back every day.
But it's like, I just don't even like that somebody, like people feel like they got to even say y'all high. Like that's high.
Oh, yeah.
Because
So-
nobody's
Only
saying
black
that
people.
at Starbucks.
And that's where
That would
where the imposter syndrome thing. And for me right now at this table, I just pray that when you walk away from here today, you walk away from here knowing that you are a big corporation and that you deserve to be paid.
Thank you.
And because of the integrity and the pride that you carry behind your brand. And a lot of times, corporations, I've worked for big corporations, I'm sure a lot of us have to be sustainable. And we don't like the companies that we work for. We really don't. We really don't. Because guess what? It's treating the people horrible.
Right.
And so the people that really care, like you, about what you're putting out, you don't want to roast the hell out of a dark roast. Pitted cherry, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know.
That's cool. That's cool.
And that says something about you. You want to bring dynamics to drinking coffee. You want to bring, you know, just that sense of ease and like bringing people together and enjoying your coffee. Like not just like, you know, you're just getting the same thing off the block.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah, they need to pay for that, for caring about what goes into your body.
And if you can't, it's like, all right, you made the mistake. This was your decision. Pay the ticket, and then if you can't afford it, don't come back. Like,
Yeah.
You're
It's
gonna
just not
pay
the
for
if
place
it's not
to
in,
be.
something.
if it's not in your budget, don't come back or don't come every day. But
I'll
like,
I'll see them come and complain in front of me.
yeah,
And then go wait 30
They love to
minutes in
complain
line
to
at
us.
Starbucks. That's what I'm saying.
Listen, they love to
Especially
complain
once
to
they
the
find
black
out it's
people.
mine, it was like, oh, you the owner? Oh, then the suggestions come out.
Yeah.
This
the
is what you
slave
should
master,
do. And it's
the
just like,
slave
and I'm
master.
like, all right, cool. I get it. I respect that. I learned to smile at it. They mean no harm. It's just like, you know, I gotta live. This is just what I do. It's I could go over to Starbucks. Even Starbucks, I do this. No disrespect, but there is a Starbucks where you can get a 20-ounce cup of sugar and milk. Here, I have one size of my latte. I promise you, I'm gonna make it like I care about you. But I respect that 100%. If you just go down right across the street into the Peachtree Center, there's a Caribou Coffee over there that'll get you anything that you're looking for. I don't take that personally. It's cool, but I'm gonna do what I do
yeah,
every time.
as you should.
And everybody is going to consume as they do.
Yeah.
But I pray that people really want to consume with passion these days.
And God is good
It
because
sounds like you're passionate about what you do.
they show me love. The people who do come, they leave pleased. Even the ones who pay a little bit extra money, I see them coming back over time. It's just how you treat people in that interaction. By the grace of God, I am still 2 years running, have been a 5-star coffee shop in downtown Atlanta, the only one. I mean,
Snaps, right?
Yeah, I'm like 5 stars.
Legit, like
Yes.
it is. So if you know, I'm literally like, on as far as Google is concerned, you know, I'm the best one down there. It's a bit of a coffee desert, but I appreciate those numbers. You know, I see people who hit me up and said they were in Australia about to hop on a flight and they Googled the best coffee near their hotel and they put this on their list or
Wow.
destination spots. And, you know, it was sponsored and it was, what was it? Atlanta, whatever that website is that Atlanta does when people want to come visit, the tourist website, they sponsor my cart as a downtown attraction because I'm right next to the aquarium and everything. And so, you know, I just have to hold on to stuff like that when you get those interactions with
Yeah.
people. You know, they actually dry the skins out and make tea out of it. So I sell a tea where I take the coffee fruit skins and I blend it up with some other stuff that smells good. And yeah, I even make wine out of it.
Nice.
My thing was just like, this stuff is traditionally more tea-like or fruit-forward. It's more juicy and bright. That's how it's traditionally used. And so if like from my name, from the colors I use and how I speak about the product, I want to keep pushing that to people.
Yeah,
And let people know that aspect of it. I think dark, bold, fuel, all that, that's like, I think that's played out. And not in a bad way. I think that story's already been told.
Yeah.
You have like Black Rifle, you have like, this is the strongest coffee ever.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you, like, you can only get so strong with coffee. You know, I want people to kind of be conditioned to enjoy it. You know, where we come from, our people, our lineage, like our ancestors, it was something that they sat down and shared it with each other, the children down to the old folks. You know, there's certain cultures that have full-blown coffee ceremonies, you know, every morning. Like grandma or mom wakes up, she roasting coffee beans on the stove, wafting the smoke around and praying for her kids as she hands them a cup of coffee before they step out the door. No. And that's just, you know, we got to bring that back somehow. Coffee is the blackest thing you could do.
We gotta bring back more ceremony, period. Like ceremonious behavior amongst black folks across the entire diaspora. I feel like we need to go back to that. And I like how you kind of draw, it's like a tribute to where the coffee fruit come from on this one blend that you got in the middle.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's real tropical. It gives me bright. It gives me the opposite of what you said. It used to be like the dark, heavy.
It makes you want to try it.
Yeah, for sure.
It makes you want to try it. It tastes like Nutella, but it's like, man, it's like, where is that?
Yeah.
And where is it coming from? It makes you want to engage with your product. That's a good thing.
I appreciate that.
So we've been talking about coffee a lot. But I see some other products that you have here.
Yeah.
I want you to elaborate on those and tell us, you know, what other things.
Yeah, the spices, right? I never seen spice in coffee, right?
And it's funny. I think spice is just a cool catchword, but for the most part, it is. I think, and sometimes people do not want to add flavors to their coffee, but I do think you should have some kind of flavor experience while you're in it, and so. It first started off with, I called them comfort spices at first because it just like sparked nostalgia in you when you drank it. It was like cinnamon, cardamom, like nutmeg, and those like real fall aromatics that kind of take you to the next level. Because when you're talking about flavor, it's just mostly aroma and a little bit of taste. And so that's where that came from. And I'm real big on the season, so I was like, what would I do for the Christmas time? And it was like, obviously, I'm going to go candy canes and chocolate, like a peppermint mocha. But how can you round that flavor profile off? And that's where the cayenne came from. Wow. Just a little bit of cayenne. It just, you know, because spice isn't like a flavor. It's your mouth's reaction to pain. It's a you know what I mean? So that little tingle along with the peppermint and the cooling mint and that cocoa, it's just crazy. You just sprinkle them on anything. You know what I mean?
I never thought of that. So this one right here, okay,
yeah, that's
cayenne and cocoa.
Yeah, that's the new one that we're gonna be launching pretty soon.
And it looked like the inside looked like a grounded peppermint.
Yeah. So no, we do. We take legit candy canes in the mortar and we work it through and we kind of mix them that way. And I like the comfort spices because it's just like put them on anything, put them on everything. They don't really have a specific purpose for it.
So they're multi-purpose.
So you can. So okay, how would I use that in a coffee though?
Oh, as a drink topper.
So if I got like a cold foam or like a froth, I will put it on top of there.
Say you got like an iced latte with some cold foam on the top, and you just sprinkle a little bit on there, and it's just gonna take that drink to the next level. Or if you want it actually mixed into your hot latte as it goes, somebody will come in and my most popular drink is called a honey brown latte. Honey and brown sugar and cinnamon. I sprinkle some of that in there as I'm making the drink, and I make the latte art and top it off with that, and it just adds a little bit to your experience. It's supposed to like feel like the first time you drink it every time. Yeah. And I think those add value to it. And we can cook with them. Everything from French toast muffins to jerk, curry. We worked them into everything.
And I love coffee, so I'm like, I want to try that.
Oh, make sure y'all leave with something. Y'all gonna be all right.
Yeah. So I can't guarantee that everybody listening to this wants to start a coffee shop, but I can guarantee that everyone listening to this is interested in your story and how they can leverage that, for lack of better words, on how they can learn from this, like the growth and how to run a sustainable business. From where you are now, looking back, would you change or do anything different, or what lessons have you learned in how to like scale and scale and grow, not too fast, but at a reasonable pace that didn't make you have to take steps backwards and kind of crash and burn? Because you can't grow too fast where you kind of like effed up and like the business kind of like takes a step backwards. So like, what have you learned from where you are and the things that you have done to scale and grow?
So I was supposed to be a 30-day quick fix. And then
you got to break that down for us.
Yeah, like that.
So There was a Starbucks at the America's Mart Center that had been there for years. It was a staple in downtown Atlanta. COVID hit, and they just had enough money to just like pay their rent and not open their doors. They didn't want to pay for the payroll or the overhead for baristas to be sitting there. So they're like, man, let's find somebody who's willing to come and be an active coffee presence in here that we can essentially build confidence in. Mm-hmm. I had just bought everything I needed to sell coffee in front of people, and I probably did one farmer's market, and I'm like, this ain't it. I'm not about this life. I can't like pack it up and drop it every day. And so I called the America's Mart Center that I actually used to do security in. I used to have a job there when I was like 19, 20, 21, up until I started taking coffee serious. And I just called to be like, hey, can I come get in y'all trade show circuit? They was just like, actually, you know what's funny? We have no trade show opportunities for you to vend, but can you come meet me here later on today?
Look at God.
I was like, I think I got an opportunity for you. I don't know this guy.
Yeah.
I just knew who to call, and they gave me his number. So shout out to John Martis. He said, come down here and let me show you the place. He didn't even really tell me what he was looking for. He was like scurrying, running around, but he walked me to this space, and he was just like, all right, so basically Starbucks won't open their doors, but we need to have a coffee fix here. Can you set up right here and just every day, Monday through Friday, 8 to 2, sell coffee?
Sprung it on you.
Yeah,
Just like
that was easy.
And I'm like, I was like, yeah, of course. I'm, trying to hold my composure. For sure, that's no problem. He was like, can you set up by Monday? In my head, no. But I told him yes.
Right.
That's right.
2 days later, I set up shop. And then the next thing I know, I'm on my year anniversary of being there. It was like always short-term deals that eventually was just like open-ended, and then it was more so like I'm a part of the culture and the ecosystem in these buildings now. So it's no longer Div who has the coffee cart. It turned into like, oh, Fwi's gonna cover that. Oh, well, let's bring in Cafe Fwi for our next event and trade show and move like that. And so then I'm like 2 years anniversary. I'm like, all right, cool. This is cool, but I'm so imposter syndrome out that I'm like, any given day they could just call it and say this is not an amenity that they want anymore, so we need to do something. I'm telling my wife, she's like, they love you, you're fine. I'm like, I feel you, but the day that they say I'm not,
I gotta be prepared.
we gotta be ready.
Yeah.
And this fire, honestly,
That's
it's
love.
the lead. It's time.
Yeah,
It's time.
I gotta move.
I heard the story,
But
I understand why we're scaling.
Yeah, I gotta
That
get
was a
to
good
it. It's
one.
just time. It's just time.
But what I want to focus on real quick in that story, I'm hearing a whole lot of divinity in the timing, right?
Oh, that's a fact.
Because it's like
Yeah, let's give honor to God for sure.
you answered the call. Like, I'm thinking you gonna say you scoped them out, right?
Yeah.
No, you was asking them for a trade opportunity, and it happened to be at the same exact time they was under pressure to fill this spot because Starbucks wouldn't open their
They
doors.
said, "Yeah, forget the trade. We want you here."
Yes,
And had you been like 90% of other people when given a call from God to do something, and they're like, oh, I'll put it on the back burner, or I'm gonna put it on the to-do list, or I'll do it later. Like, you had that feeling that was like, I gotta call this person right now. You picked up that phone. That was you following the script, running the play.
That's gang.
And it led you right to where you are right now. And I just want to kind of like point that out there, because so many people get ideas, get this voice in their head to say, you should do this. And they just think, okay, yeah, that sounds like a good idea, but they don't write it down, they don't implement it, and the next thing they know, 3 months, 3 years pass by, they forgot about it.
They still have it in their heart.
Still got it
And
in
it
their heart.
replays in their mind.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because people always want to know, well, how does God speak to you? How can you hear him?
Like
You're in
that.
connection with him.
Yeah, like that.
And this is pure, like this is an example right here. This guy said, can I set up on Monday? I couldn't set up on Monday.
But he made it happen. And
Yeah.
you set up on Monday.
I did.
He made it happen. God gave him a seed.
You're gonna have to. One thing I've learned is that you're gonna have to deal with it regardless. So scaling too fast, you're always gonna have to take a moment to slow down and clean up what you didn't clean along the way.
Yeah.
The biggest thing I've learned in business, from starting off to making $20 to whatever we making now, was manage the money. Because most of the time it ain't really about how much money you got, it's how well did you manage it. You know? So if you get really, really good at, like, if you only made $200, but you allocated those funds the right way, and you paid your taxes, you documented what you did the right way, and you took what you took for yourself and you put it back in here. I'm not gonna say I'm perfect at that, but in business, it's just really about how responsible can you be with every money, because you're gonna get 200,000 easy. The first 2 years, I didn't spend any of my money really.
I love it.
I like to think that, because as long as I showed people that I was responsible with that little $20, they was like, "We'll give him 2,000. We'll see what he does with it." Mind you, not making profit, but like, that was the biggest thing for me. If I was gonna scale, I needed to be sustainable across the board. If I'm out the sunroom with it, okay, now I'm on this cart. Now I'm trying to think about bringing in employees. I realistically cannot have no grown man or woman come work for me and be paid under the poverty line. That's just like asinine to me. That's crazy. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I get it.
you got a whole
And then
family
you got
like
a
I do.
representation. You get it. You want,
There's black people here working for me. You mean to tell me I'm about to give you $9 an hour? I should be ashamed of myself. Of course, I could look like a boss, right? And I could pay y'all whatever I want to pay y'all and take home all this money, but people start calling out because they got to go make money in other places, or they're not really just like happy about showing up to work. They're not eager to learn. And so for me, early on, it's worked better to take home basically as much as they take home until we could really scale it. So like, I work for my company. That's what makes me feel it. I work at my coffee, my cart. I work for my cart, and I take home really, after expenses and life and everything, I'm really just making what somebody who works for me makes. You know, I'm working with you. And I think that's just the best way to scale it. I think if everybody did that, you'd be great. Take care of your people, overpay your employees, because that's
always take care of
any hustler. I'm happy to meet you, and I love you. Pour into me, I'll pour into you. So
that's some real advice, Div, because I feel like social media, it always boils down to social media. I feel like, because social media will have you believing that that's not sexy at all. That's the unsexy way to grow.
right.
So I'm a capitalist activist.
Yeah,
I'm a
capitalist activist.
Yeah, for sure.
Meaning I understand business a lot.
Yeah.
And I get it, what you're saying. I do. And I think that there is a market for that. You know how you said specialty coffee? Mm-hmm. In specialty coffee, they can do that. In Starbucks coffee, they can't.
So, and I feel you.
But I feel like I heard that they pay really well though at Starbucks.
They do.
They
You
do.
get benefits as well too.
Yeah.
Like,
You get dental and
benefits,
healthcare.
You get so much stuff. But I mean, can you live on it? Probably not. Like, you
Okay.
can't buy a home or things like that. Even with your markouts and all that stuff. Okay, but with specialty coffee, it's different.
Yeah, the
And
business
so-
models are a little bit different.
Correct. So as long as I believe you keep that heart, you know what I mean, and just that drive about you, like, you'll be able to definitely do that. I wonder if that interferes. Like, does it ever interfere with you? Like, having like this war within yourself of like, man, this is what I originally created, my passion, understanding, and then how can I say this? I don't know if you've made it there yet, to that point where you get that I can go and get those instead of getting kilos.
Oh, okay.
I'm buying more, and I want to pay less, and I want to do these things like, you got to make cuts or certain things to be able to scale on a corporate level even higher. I wonder, is there going to be a battle with that within you?
I think there's ways to make the money. I think there's been a recipe for how we're supposed to go about a sustainable business model. Some things you cannot get past, supply and demand, you got to do what you got to do. If the C market on coffee goes up, it is what it is. We're going to have to charge more for our coffee. But I just don't think it's impossible not to make sure that your people are taken care of.
You got so many creative ways. Like the fact that you even mentioned the membership. I would have never thought to introduce a subscription model to coffee.
And I did it out the gate.
Out the gate, right?
Yeah, out
like
the
that's
gate.
crazy.
A lot of people wait till they establish brand identity to do that. But for me, I was just like, you're buying from me. So if we're doing a direct to consumer, I will make sure you get your coffee every day. It's like, and mind you, I'm not gonna be able to write handwritten thank yous to every person as time goes on. And I get it, there will be a disconnect as we grow and we have multiple locations. But if you set a standard out the gate that you're gonna take care of people, and it's just like whatever is the poverty line in that area, just like make sure that they're over it and you guarantee them as many hours as possible. I can't at this point see how that would be an issue as we grow. It may mean that we don't get to open up that 8th location. but I can pour back into the 7 locations I'm got. And that's goes back to only growing as much as you can grow. You know what I mean? And maybe one day we just necessarily don't have shops anymore, and we just have coffee on the shelves or in people's cribs, and I'll make sure we pay the factory or the roasters or whoever's putting the coffee together. Or maybe we go over to Rwanda and we touch hands with the people in East Africa and they say, hey, you'll pay for the land and you'll take care of us. We'll cultivate your coffee here, and then we just the product. I think it's just we always, if we're going to try to be creative to market ourselves, we should always be able to be creative and pouring back into our people, especially our community.
Yeah.
Especially because how much of an outsider I felt like going into coffee. I don't want anybody to feel like that. I'm like a hustler, like out the trunk mixtape t-shirt selling rapper, trying to go into the coffee space, but I don't really necessarily want that to be my approach to the coffee industry. I got a lot of respect for it. Not that I don't respect the music aspect of it, but it don't need to just be like I'm out the trunk. I want to, like, there's an art to it. There's a trade aspect to it. You know, there's a career that you can have in it, and I don't know, that imposter syndrome, just trying to get past that I'm not out here faking it.
Yeah.
Or it's not like a gimmick.
I want to stick on that just for a little bit, because I feel like that's the point of relatability. I feel like where a lot of people are dealing with imposter syndrome. So like for you, how did it appear in your life? Was it like thoughts? Was it like doubts? Was it like hesitations of like making certain moves or making certain investments you needed to do to, you know, to move the brand forward? Like, how did the imposter syndrome creep into your life, and how did you kind of combat it?
So I was never afraid to make the purchases. It's just once I made the purchases, I was kind of hesitant to tell people about it. As a self-promoter, a loud self-promoter, that's not really something I'm always too comfortable with. And it's like, how, bro, you rap for a living? Like, you're not.
I totally get it.
I'm not good at it. Like, I was like, yeah, I have this product, I do this, but half the time I don't necessarily know how to tell people that. And I don't know why. I think I was worried to, you know, even saying words like, I have a coffee company. You know, I want to be like, oh, yeah, I got this like coffee situation where I'm selling it off of a cart. And, you know, my wife went to a trade show with me, and she was just like, yo, tell them what you do. This is the one place in the world where people get it, you know? And so I practiced. I was like, yo, so I have a coffee cart in a convention center downtown. Practiced that for a while. And then from there, I'm like, all right, well, technically I got a high-end catering company that I work off of the cart. And then, but even still, you go to these places and you're like, you see like the big time people, you know, they're sponsored by like the Nike of coffee, like ad agencies based in coffee. People like it's a wild world. You got people, you know, like Onyx Coffee Lab, they might be the Nike of coffee. And you see those people at trade shows and they're like living and breathing coffee. Mind you, I live and breathe coffee every day, but something about being on that stage in that arena is just a little intimidating.
Got you.
You know, it's a naturally pretentious and
Like,
snobby
I'm just
type.
around other people.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And mind you, I make probably more, I make easily 200 lattes a week. You know what I mean? So why am I getting in a space where I'm feeling weird about it? So I think, I don't know, I wish I could really identify that, but it's been on my heart to know recently that it is like, I have like an imposter syndrome. Like I'm not supposed to be, I'm not supposed to be in the places that I'm going in. I don't know. It just take practice. I feel like this is a trade that people can learn fresh out of high school, or like bridge programs. You take it as an elective and it's under hospitality, and you externship on my cafe. And then as soon as I'm never not going to have an employee, and you're never going to be unemployed.
Yeah. I think that answer was just awesome for any business that's scaling, that wants to grow but doesn't want to, you know, get that downturn in business. You know, it's like, man, they used to be great.
Right.
They just used to be great. Just like Emory right now. They're like, people go, Emory used to be great, but now it wants to be like Kaiser.
Right.
I'm just being honest, because I mean, I worked in the healthcare industry for a long time, and I wish that everybody could hear that.
And it sounds good right now,
Maybe
right?
I can't open that 8th location.
Yeah, it sounds good. I mean, you know.
Really keeps the quality and the respect for people.
That's love.
And if we could do that on a large scale, man, If every business was thinking
And it's
like
like,
that.
it's also like, if I take care of you, naturally you're gonna take care of me. It's like people
That's how it was.
people now look at turnover as just chalk it up. It's like a write-off, right?
Right.
Like we got high turnover, but it's just the name of the game. It's the business.
We
like
don't want
people not
full-time
going
employees.
Yeah, people
Let
not
them
gonna
be
stay with
contracted.
us.
We don't need even benefits. It's true.
I think of it like what you said. I relate that back to like the dream house theory, where I forget what book I was reading where they was talking about the dream house, but it's like you don't have to worry about being an electrician or a plumber and having all these skills to build a home. It's like you elect and you delegate the right people who are skilled in what they do. You treat them like a member of your team, and they're going to build you the best damn dream house ever, right? And it's like just take care of the people around you and build with the people that you kind of poured into, and then it's like they cut spill the over. Yeah, I know you to a certain extent, Div, right? And so I don't want what I want to say sound like I have you all figured out, because I don't, right? And I'm not saying that I do. But when I think of the coffee industry, I do think of the people who have these companies.
Right.
It does give off a more snobby type of like vibe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where you are more so like you catch me as like a more down to earth type of guy, and to be down to earth, you're closer to the consumer.
Yeah.
Where
okay.
like that's where I feel
now
like
we get into
it may get to like psychologically, you may still be, I don't know, put yourself in the box of like closer to the consumer than the big wigs who are slinging all this.
Accept their product.
Yeah.
They're the big guy.
Yeah.
I'm just this little guy, as opposed to, I think it's encapsulating the fact that God allowed you to be purposeful here. He wants you here. Your shit's good.
And you're here
Own
probably
it.
to change that whole shit up.
That's
Yeah.
love.
And that's
love.
why you come to shake things up.
Yeah.
You hear that? Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's amazing. That's amazing. Div, just transitioning, man. I would love to, you kind of gave your advice to what you would do to scale, but I mean, would there be essentially anything you would do differently had you started this journey over today?
Knowing what I know now, it wouldn't have worked.
Pretty prolific.
It wouldn't have worked. I can't really see any other way this could have went. Like there's different ways I would have took more time to get more training as a barista or coffee professional.
Okay.
If I could go back, but when I had the time, I would have took more barista training courses so that I could train more people coming in. Because I know a lot of people are eager, and I can teach you how to work my space. But how can I train you to a way that once you leave here, you're gonna leave here.
You're a skilled barista.
Yeah, and anybody who sees Cafe Fwi on your resume was like, "Oh, you was down there,
right?
You was working with Div. Oh, for sure.
This
you was at Cafe Fwi."
It's so funny that you say that. One of my first jobs was at Starbucks, and I went to the bank. I went to Chase, and I wanted a job, and they said, "We hire everybody that works at Starbucks." Do you know that?
Yeah.
Wait,
listen.
They train
What's
it's customer
the
service.
customer service,
It's
gotcha.
attention to detail.
I
Like
was
you
a
understand
kid
a
when
program.
they said this to me. I was young. I was in high school. I was like, I think about 17, 18 in high school doing this. So that's crazy that you brought that back up.
Also says a lot too about, where you want to take things. It's kind of like you also want to be an educator and just kind of put people in position too. And it's not putting people in position so that they can work for you. It's more so like, even if outside of my doors, it's like you got a skill that you can leverage and take anywhere. Whether you want to open up a coffee shop of your own, you want to get into another coffee shop, you want to
create peace in your home.
Yeah, you want to create. Yeah, it's like whatever.
Seriously.
Like let me just make you
just
better.
Spend time with grandma.
Yeah.
Like wow.
Before this opportunity,
we'll
were
get to it now.
you already like having inventory? Were you doing like pop-up shops before? And like where were you in the journey? He did one farmer's market, right? But from that, was you doing other stuff?
So before all that, this was the time of the PPP loans. And I had all my homies getting 20, 30 bands running it up. And I'm like, I don't know.
Right.
I don't really think I got that in me. And so instead of going through the homies who could guarantee me 20 bands, I called the only accountant I knew, who I used to work for. And I did it right. Because I had been selling coffee online, I had about a 6 to 8 month track record of just like making money under my LLC. And so it was just e-commerce.
So you was doing e-commerce, selling,
yeah,
okay.
just selling it straight out the sunroom, you know what I mean? Just going to USPS, shipping them things off and staying consistent with it. And basically every time I got money from it, put it back into it. And just, I got a background in product placement. So it was like, my goal was to make it look like it could sit in Target. So I did that for a while. And man, where was I going? Where was I? Oh, okay.
So we were talking about the first day.
Yeah.
Of business.
This is me just serving coffee, and I went and got a PPP loan, and they only gave me $8,000.
Wow.
I spent $8,000 on getting a coffee cart, an espresso machine, a grinder, and just a water pump system that I could sell with. It cost me $8,000. I got $8,612 from the government. And I spent every dime of it on just having the setup. And it just sat in my apartment for maybe 2-3 months. And then my wife was like, you got to move. You got to do something with this. I was like, you right. I went and did the Atlanta street market. And it was just like a big old lugging stuff in there, setting it up. I mean, I'm selling coffee. I did pretty good for my first one. But I was like, all this for no return, I'm not doing something right. And I just had this inventory. I mean, I had worked in a roastery before. I'm just kind of like copying the company I used to work with. But that was cool for just basic day-to-day inventory and having stuff together. They forgave my PPP loan for no reason. I don't understand. That's my whole life and my whole entrepreneur situation has literally just being prepared for something to land.
Yeah.
I had tax returns.
Right.
So an accountant could get me a PPP loan. I got the money and I bought what I needed. They said, can you come sell coffee? I had an espresso machine. I could sell coffee. One of my best friends, he was chilling. He was like, bro, I'll come work with you until we can get it going. And me and him sat up shop and just stood there in matching shirts from Walmart, selling muffins from Kroger and whatever menu I could come up with. And then I just started developing it from there. I had it. Something always tells me like, listen, just do the work. Do it like, worst thing you could ever do is just be like, hey, can you set up tomorrow and you don't have anything to run with? Spiller Park, the owner of Spiller Park, shout out to Dale, who was randomly having beers together at some bar. That was just random. And I was telling him my story. He said that's how he got his job, his first coffee shop in Ponce City Market. They said, hey, man, can you set up a coffee spot here? He said, yeah. He said, when can you do it? He said, 3 weeks. Mind you, they're thinking he needs like a year to build out. He said 3 weeks. He got the contract. He said, I didn't have nothing but a serve safe and a dream. He set up shop with a food handler's card and a logo. And now he's probably got he just opened up like his 4th location.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So I know I was kind of all over the place, but I got excited. It's just,
You're good.
It was really just, man, I knew what were the basics of things I needed to perform at a high level. And then I was able to just fall into that. And then when I got to a high level, I reinvested. I'm always with reinvesting. I don't mind that at all. As long as my family's taken care of and we good, everything goes back into re-upping and scaling. I started off with one espresso machine that it took forever to make drinks with. My next flip, I bought 4 of them. Nice. I had a catering client. That catering client told another client. So now when like these trade shows come around, I'm catering at like 4 at the same time. I don't have employees. I'm telling people I know who need money, come work, and I'll teach you what you need to do as fast as possible. As long as you'll show up on time and you won't steal from me, I can teach you how to make a cup of coffee. That's easy.
Yeah.
At the very least, take the orders, and I'll get somebody in here who knows how to make the coffee. And I just kind of built it from that. Yeah. And now we rolling.
So now that you're rolling,
yep.
Let's talk about the new concept. Let's talk about the concept for this new coffee shop.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
He's excited. Well, I'm excited too, because when I seen the post, I'm like, ooh, this is exciting.
This is big.
So my whole dream is to have like this crazy, tiny Parisian-style cafe. The sexiest thing in the world to me is those old Italian, European, Parisian, European, I'll just stick with that, style cafe. It's a shotgun. You walk through the footprint, straightforward, you come through the door, the espresso machine's over there in the corner. It's like barely enough room to sit down, but everybody's in there because it's just like, it's A1 product. It's inviting, it's comfortable. I think a lot of times people make coffee shops that look cool, they're like sterile, minimal, and that's the aesthetic. And it's like, come in here and I dare you to ask for sugar in your coffee. I don't really care what you put in it, as long as like you're coming to, you know, enjoying fellowship and being here. And man, I wanted to just like, I think coffee is an affordable luxury that can be presented that way to people. Like it should be like, let me go treat myself to this latte. let me go out here and walk into this place and spend $7 on some espresso milk but whatever. But there's like chandeliers in the ceiling. And there's like textured wallpaper, but we're inside a 40-foot shipping container that's rusty and dirty on the outside. But when you walk into, you're like, swear to God, you know what I mean?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So that's the whole dream of it. We broke ground with that. We've already welded a door.
Love it.
We'll get the second door welded in Sunday, hopefully, God willing. And then the windows. Once the welding's done, then the fun starts happening.
Yeah.
We'll frame it. We'll do whatever. Initially, my GoFundMe was for $125,000. And I sent it out. I said, I need $125,000 to get a coffee shop. I only got $2,200. And so I sat there with that, and I'm like, $2,200. Okay. I don't know what I can do with this. And then I sat back, and I looked at old Pinterest. Like, I had, like, mood boards on Pinterest, and one of them was for a shipping container. It was just like a concept I had thought about and wrapped my head around. And I was just looking through the files, and I was just like, it's actually really tangible. Now that I know how to have a mobile spot and I've built a coffee shop out of like thin air, what if I had an actual roof over the thin air? And then I looked at it, and I said, how much is a damn shipping container? It's $2,500.
Wow, I didn't know they was that cheap.
Wow. Let's not talk about it.
When it was all said and done, it was like, I just kind of let my audience in the universe dictate what I was supposed to have. I wanted a coffee shop. I did not have $120,000-$250,000 discretionary fund to get my doors open in Fulton County. Oh, but I could pay $2,500 for this shipping container. I know a welder. I can steel frame. That's easy. Windows. I mean, there's a firm. There's Klarna. There's ways to get this stuff. It started looking real logical all of a sudden. And I'm like, man.
Where you going to put the shipping container?
I found a place. You know what I'm saying? They said, where do you put it? And I just started calling folks. I said, a lot of people reached out. Some residential folks was like, you can drop it here. And then ultimately it went to the Atlanta Utility Works. And they allowed me to put it there. And so that was love. And then so they dropped it. They're going to charge me rent, but that's fine. But I can work. I don't have to get a work permit or nothing. And yeah, man, I saw that $2,200 and I used every drop of it to buy a shipping container. And I'm just trying to listen to the universe, like y'all said.
And I feel like I've been blessed enough to. So I'm in a private school environment right now, and I've been exposed to like fundraising and stuff like that. And from the things we've been able to accomplish in the short amount of time I've been there, what you're doing is like you're doing it right. And I don't know if this was intentional or not, but like using what you had to like make something happen. Yeah. The people now asking for that 120,000 is actually easier than them not seeing any, because now they can see the shipping container. Right. Now they can see the progress. Right. And they're like, oh, I want to invest in this because now it's something tangible and they can show you got something tangible that people can see. That's what's up. That's what's up, man. I got everything I needed, man. I feel like this was a dope episode, great conversation, and I feel like the people are going to get some real knowledge on, one, we're going to learn something new about coffee because I never knew that came from a cherry. Yeah. Two, is just learning about business and just like how to treat people, relationships, everything. I feel like that was all gems that we shared in this episode. What about you, Jazz?
I think the aspect of really going for something. Yeah. Sometimes, a lot of big dreams are built on survival. Mm-hmm. And sometimes God will have you in those spaces, and just how divine your story was and is, how it was just like, man, I'm roasting coffee in my sunroom apartment to this big door open for me just because I was willing to go and do it. And so I think that this episode is going to take the naysayers and the people that believe that they can't do it and turn it into I can't. Yeah. And that is more impactful to me than anything, because there's so many dreams in our hearts, and that's our purpose. Mm-hmm. And it starts from the faith of a mustard seed. And I remember you just talking about a seed. You were like, I just planted a seed. That was it. Yeah. And right then, all I thought about was the mustard seed tree. Like and I see it in your life and how it's growing. I see you at your age being just young, 31. I mean, entrepreneur that's doing this. And 10% of your field, that's you. you're going for greatness. And I hope that everybody that watches this episode never misses the opportunity to take their chance.
Stay ready.
When it comes, seize that shit. Seize the moment. He was not prepared to open the damn doors. No. And so if you come to Atlanta, you better come to Amidst Mart and come and check out that card. Come check out
Cafe Fwi, man.
Cafe Fwi, man.
Stay ready so you ain't got to get ready. That's what I got out of this episode, man.
Yeah, that's a fact.
He stayed ready. And when that man said, "Can you be ready by Monday?" He said, "Yeah."
Yeah, sure.
He rolled up his beanie.
I got you. Yeah, let's get to it.
We'll be ready by Monday. Shit,
Yeah.
I don't know how I'll be ready by Monday, but we're going to be ready by Monday.
I love it.
Where can the people find you? I know that, we mentioned a little bit about where Cafe Fwi is. Where can they find you on socials? Is there any way they can maybe get some of this at the house?
Yeah. Yes, you can.
Tell the people where to find you.
So, cafefwi.com. That is cafefwi.com. All my products are on there. Everything we serve. If you happen to be in downtown Atlanta, we are at the America's Mart Center. That is Building 1, second floor. When you walk into the lobby, it should be plenty of signs that let you know where you go to get up to Cafe Fwi. But also look out for us in East Point, Georgia. By the grace of God, it should be second quarter next year. We should be up and running. We're at the Atlanta Utility Works. That's right off R.N. Martin. Or just type in FWI into Instagram, Google, or anything. By now, we should pop up pretty easily.
Fwi. Man, I love it.
Epic. We've had a great episode.
I truly appreciate y'all having me.
Let's get it. Hey, I appreciate you, Div, for coming on here. Being on time, being diligent, brought us some snacks, man.
Oh, that's
this
love.
man, he really is hospitable, man. He's not just for the coffee
This is a
cart.
real
it's like,
businessman.
yeah,
That's
for sure,
love.
for
He
sure.
understands marketing his product and making people feel like they want to. I want to test it out. I know I want to share it with my family.
That says a lot because Jazz don't really drink coffee.
That's love.
Yeah.
I
got some
might
tea
take
for you.
a smidget.
Yeah.
I'll get
A
some tea for
that's
you, too.
different.
I'll get some tea for you. I wish I'd have brought
Let
some.
Kai stick to the coffee.
Yeah, man. But for the audience, man, we appreciate you all as well tuning in every single week. Mondays, clips on Fridays. Don't forget on Tuesdays, we're hitting y'all with the community, the creators community that is, if you're trying to learn content creation and how you can monetize your brand. I'm your guy, Kai Speaks. We out.